The sun literally rises in the east over the somnolent airport in Bahrain. Here in January 1976, British Concorde touched down on the world's first ever supersonic commercial flight and made aviation history. They were champagne days for Concorde. There was a queue to fly in the most exciting aircraft the world had ever seen. Concorde's battles for world recognition were only beginning. But for the flying public, the pencil-slim beauty lacked only one thing: wide-ranging routes to fly on. The Middle East was conquered. The Middle West and the rest of America had yet to be won over. Concorde didn't really begin on a drawing board. It evolved out of one of the most exciting innovations of the 50s, the British Comet. Comet was the world's first turbojet airliner, and Movietone News was there when the first passenger service was inaugurated on May the 2nd, 1952. Takeoff point London, destination by way of Rome, Beirut, Khartoum, Entebbe and Livingston was Johannesburg, South Africa. But the long road to Comet and Concorde, the beginning of serious global air travel, started with the first flight of a magnificent long-ranging aircraft in November 1930. The Handley Page 4-engine biplane, the Hannibal. A 100-mile-an-hour cruising speed, a 300-mile range seemed puny now. But the Hannibal was big, roomy, and gave superb comfort to its 24 passengers. It put Imperial Airways on the map. The Scylla class, a variation of the Hannibal, added its weight to Imperial Airways' growing prestige. Both flight and turnaround were fast. Could this have been the foretaste of things to come? Passengers didn't lounge about either. To many at boardroom and technical level, the answer to really long-range service was one of the most graceful aircraft of the day. C-class flying boats like the Caledonia were used on Empire routes. They could carry 24 passengers, 2 tons of mail. The war over, great changes were expected in air travel and were taking place. In July 1950, the first 4-turbo prop aircraft flew into the picture. The Vickers Viscount V630, setting in motion the first scheduled passenger flights in gas turbine airliners. The flight path was opening for the turbojet. It was time for Comet. Comet 1, powered by 4 de Havilland Ghost 50 turbojets, cruising speed just under 500 miles an hour, was the start of something really new: passenger jet travel. Many other aircraft have been tried and proved, like the famous Trident. What everybody half expected, but was convinced could never really happen, the advent of a huge, wide-bodied jet, the Boeing 747, with room for hundreds. But for a needed fast service, Concorde was the only answer. America still needed convincing. In her Silver Jubilee year, the Queen, accompanied by the Duke, showed her own complete confidence in this beautiful aircraft when she flew home from Barbados after her Jubilee tour. Her Majesty's delight with the trip was evident. Then they opened, if not the floodgates, at least the first trickles of hope for Concorde's career. A New York clearance gave legal sanction. Concorde was on her way. First flighters to Kennedy included trade union leader Hugh Scanlon. The famous nose, sense of victory that a few weeks ago seemed defeat. With the skies clear to New York for supersonic flight, it's felt the rest of the world will go Concorde. Time of departure from Heathrow, 10:29. Expected time of arrival at Kennedy Airport, just 3 hours, 23 minutes from now. A transatlantic record for passenger air travel. A few decades ago, jet travel was thought to be impossible for passengers, even probably dangerous in the extreme. The velocity of sound, escalating to Concorde's regular speed, Mach 2, twice the speed of sound, a thought that may have terrified the 1930s. Now it's recognized as a quick, clean, comfortable way to cross oceans and continents. Less than 3.5 hours from the runways of London's Heathrow, Manhattan's famous skyline lifts out of the ocean. Kennedy Airport prepares for its controversial visitor. French Concorde, which had left Paris on a synchronized arrangement with its British counterpart, lands first. Then British Concorde, commanded by Captain Brian Walpole. Both planes report a smooth and enjoyable flight. As for noise and pollution, even Concorde's fiercest critics don't have much to say. Expected demonstrations from noise abatement societies in New York fail to appear. Concorde's performance obviously pleased her crew. 25 years after the first jet passenger service lifted off, the world's most beautiful jetliner is ready for supersonic travel anywhere.